You know, like right now, it feels really good. Hopefully that.
I only do it when I
had a guy reach out to me who had some lessons. He's like, hey, can I do this? I'm like, sure, man. Whatever.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you would, please turn your attention towards Wendy. She is with Prime Lending. She is the person that is going to be providing you lunch today. She has sponsored this all company, so please give her a round of applause while she gives you.
Yeah, there's tacos in there. That's probably the best part of the whole thing.
You can move her here to the mic so people online can see as well.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Wendy Katowski. I'm with Prime Lending. I office right down here, right down the street from you guys. Do have 6 other offices in the area. I do manage and I produce as well. So we have several teams. We are we're growing like mad, just like you guys. But so I was just telling Cindy, I said it's really nice to see humans in person. Yes, this is like the first meeting I've been to that I've been in person. It's all been Zoom meetings and you know, video and so I forgot what I even look like. But so I guess kind of with all the negative going on, I know we have a ton of negative COVID, all this other stuff that's going on. I want to read a few more, I wrote notes, a few more negative things first. So with lending, the negative things that have happened throughout COVID, construction lending is few and far between. If you've seen that, heard that, not find a construction loan, you're gonna have to go to local banks for construction lending. A lot of it has been pulled out because it's a lot of money that the lenders actually use of their own and they hold it, and it's a high risk because they've got a third party that's building for them and they may run with your money. So that's the big why behind it. VA renovation loans suspended. That's through VA, not because of anything we wanted to do, but VA decided no risk, we're done. VA, if you do a mini VAs and you have ever had a Tidewater or a low appraisal, and you know we can go to VA and we can do a reconsideration of value with those. Typically, they will take the contract and they will reconsider it. And if it's a known appraiser that always comes in low, they'll really look at it heavy. But right now, if it's more than 7%, they will only go up 7% over. They will not review anything else, no large ones, nothing. That's a VA thing. Credit scores are reduced. You know, the credit scores, we had 580 credit scores allowed on government loans. We now are at 640. So we jumped, some companies jumped to 680, there's some that stayed at 620. So definitely don't stop in one place. So if you call and you find out, or if somebody calls and finds out that their credit score is too low, call somebody else because they may still have it and they may be taking the risk on it. We're at 640, we're solid at 640. Conventionals did not change. FHA loans, where they have 3.5% down. It's a low down payment loan. You think, hey, they don't really have to have any money. They now have to have reserves 3 months. FHA is known for taking kind of crappy credit. And so they have to have 3 months reserves.
So 3.5 down and the reserves?
Yes, but the 3.5 can be a gift. Reserves can be in a retirement 401k. It can be in anything that they don't have to liquidate it, but it has to be their own money. It cannot be part of the gift. But the rest of it can't be. Everything else can be a gift from a family member. Jumbos, there's higher restrictions, 20% down, pretty much across the board or more. And investment properties are few and far between when you're coming. If it's true investment, they can't do it as a second home, stay in it and rent it, then you're hardly going to find an investor that will do a jumbo loan with an investment property. And jumbo loans, just for the record, are 5, 10, 400, anything over 5, 10, 400. So you have up to that. So I have a lot of people that are buying and just don't want to go through the mess and the hassle, and they're just going down to 5, 10, 400 because they have the money to buy it. Verifications of employment. If you find out your people don't have jobs because of COVID or whatever, tell them to tell us. Just had one, hadn't had a job, been getting a paycheck, hadn't had a job for 30 days, made an application, got his loan, called to see if he was employed, not employed. He's just still getting paid. So he thought it was not a big deal because he started another job as a server, and he was in a career field. So he just didn't think it was a big deal to tell us. So anytime you hear anything slippery, speak up, because we do have to verify the day of closing as well. Turn times are not the greatest. We're still going 30 to 45 days on contracts, putting refis a little bit further behind because there are a lot of refis, but you may get pushed back if your buyers don't jump on things. So let's go to this positive stuff. So as far as you've probably heard a lot of the lenders are pulling out of the market. They don't have enough line to do their lending, so that's why some of the jumbos backed out of the market. Is because they hold them. They're private money, basically. It's a company money, but it's private. A lot of, when the stock market fell, a lot of their money was invested in them in investments and stocks, just like our personal money, and they lost their tails. With prime lending, we are very cash oriented, and because we're backed by a bank, and so we have actually extended our line and made it bigger because we had such a capacity issue with it. So, we're going. Prime lending is committed. As well as a lot of the other companies are. And if there's one company that they were having problems funding, if you've had any issues with that, and they had to wait because they had to extend their lines before they could get them funded because they didn't have their personal money because of capacity again. It's a good thing and but a bad thing, to have. We're all having record months. I was just talking to Tammy. She said it's going to be a 20-year record this month. Yes. Amazing. For your company to have a 20-year record. That's incredible. I know here, April was our month that we had a record for the Emerald Coast. So I have offices all the way through Pensacola. So there's 6 of us, sorry. And then, so with all of us together, we had a huge record month in April. May was right there, not quite a record month, but June's gonna be a record month. So it's amazing what we've done sitting at home on our tails in our pajamas. But or workout clothes. I was very thankful I started working out again before I went home because that was my uniform. But it's every day. But as far as we go, we've got the record months. We're committed to serving you. Everybody is. Everybody's working their tails off. They are getting burnt out. So I'll ask you, with any of your lenders, anybody that you work with, a little patience, a little grace with them. The processors are working from daylight till dark. They're working at home from daylight till dark, and they're getting a little burnt out. So if somebody says, hey, we have a capacity issue and we just can't get it out this day, try to show a little grace on the listing and the selling end and give them a few days. It's not because they're failing, not because they don't know what they're doing. It's just because they're trying to serve everybody, just like y'all are. And that's it for me. Y'all have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so since we are recording, we're going to go ahead and get started. And then we can go ahead and eat after. But I'm just going to move this table so you guys are a little bit more centered. Welcome to Keller Williams All Company meeting. Thank y'all for being here, and everyone, thank you for being online. We appreciate you guys. We got a lot of awesome stuff that's going to be happening today and this month, actually, or next month. I'm sorry, we're almost done with this month. But please, before we get started, we will please bow our heads and close our eyes, and we will pray. Dear God, thank you so much for the opportunity to give us. Thank you for the opportunity that you give us to come together as a company and as a family to learn off of each other and just the culture that you have given this company to have both John Moran and Cindy Cole, both amazing people and agents, and just share their secrets with us so that we may strive to succeed as well as they have. Thank you for just everything that you blessed us with in keeping us safe through these hard times. Please keep us motivated to power our careers and our lives and our families. We only do things through you. Please bless the food that we are going to eat after this, and let it nourish our bodies, and let us have a great rest of our week. We love you. In your name, amen.
Amen.
All right, Cindy, John, you guys want to get started?
Yeah, there.
Oh, I'm sorry, let's pledge. Let's do Pledge of Allegiance. We got the flag right over here. We need it with our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, one indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I get mine mixed up because I'm Texas and we have a Texas flag.
That's okay.
I always want to say amen again.
Hi, everybody. Hey out there. So, John, I'm going to pretend I'm Oprah and you can be Tom Cruise.
I'll be Stedman.
Okay.
Stedman.
You be Tom Cruise.
All right, I'll be John. Do I have to jump on the couch?
Yep.
All right. I'm rolling.
So thanks for joining us. We used to do this periodically, right? And we haven't done it in a long time. So here we are. Just curious how many people out there, we're going to talk about teams today. So how many of you guys are on teams? I guess we can't see out there in Zoom land, but not it. Yeah. And then how many of you are more interested in hearing about how to start a team versus be on a team? Okay. And then how many of you are thinking about joining a team?
Every day.
So most of you know that I actually started a team this year. I've been a solopreneur all these years. So, you know, I'm actually interviewing John, who's always very generous with information, as you find most top producers at Keller Williams to be. So, you know, welcome, John. Thanks for doing this.
Happy to do it. Talk real estate all the time.
John's been 14 years in the business, 12 years with a team, which is really very early in the idea of teams, right? I mean, what year did Millionaire Real Estate Agent come out and the idea of teams? I mean, 05, yeah. So you were in the very early stages of putting the idea of a team together. Up until that time, everybody was pretty much practicing alone, right?
I think that's probably true, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most folks.
Yeah. 2019 production, 107 transactions for over 43 million in production. And 2020, you're already way more than half of that. Very heavily listing concentrated, as I am. And how many did you say you have pending right now?
Let's see what we got. My screen shows 24 pending right now. Half 12 will close in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. So John's sort of you know, you're low key in the industry. You get up and you do your work every day, and you know, there's
I
not
don't get called low key, but keep going.
you know, I mean, there's not a lot of glamour and pomp and circumstance
No.
around it. It's just like you show up and you do the work and you produce and you go home. So it's awesome. So you did do your own thing for a bit in the industry, right? For a couple years.
Yeah.
And then the idea of team came along for you, or was it something you came up with?
No, it fell on top of me. I am, I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm pretty good at what I'm pretty good at and really bad at
Right.
everything else, right? Admin is a 4-letter word for me, right?
Yeah.
Buyers, 4-letter word for me. All that stuff. And I got into coaching day one, literally first day I had a coach, and it was Mike
Always at
Perry.
KW?
Nope.
Okay.
Started out with Howard Dolgoff over at Emerald Coast Properties
Okay.
for about 3 months. And my wife was working there as a buyer's agent.
Okay.
And so I just fell into there. And I moved.
And so you brought on people to compensate for the things you didn't want to do.
Yes,
Was your
it-
first hire an assistant?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And did that assistant double your production, which is pretty typical?
Pretty much. I'm trying to remember. Keep in mind, I mean, this is a different time, right? This is a totally different time. I was taking listings. I had 42 listings at one point. The phone would ring and I'd say, hello, how can I help you? And they'd have a question about their listing. I'd say, I tell you what, let me get back to you. And I'd hang up, and that was it. That was customer service. But another listing was coming and it really didn't matter, and they were selling.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. But then it started to matter, and I needed an assistant that. So what happened, my production didn't really change, but our customer service went up.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
So that's what happened. I mean,
I think in Gary's MREA model, he says the first good assistant doubles your production. Isn't that the rule that you're pretty much looking for? That certainly happened in my case. So tell us, John, who's on the team? I mean, not by name, but by the way, I don't know if anybody saw this today, but RealTrends came out with an article this morning ranking how did they were ranking small, medium, and large teams, small being defined 5 or less, in their profitability, and small teams are far more profitable than the larger teams. So just FYI, which is what you guys do. So tell us what everybody does. How many salespeople?
Okay. So right now I have 5 listing agents, 4 myself, right? Just hired 1 buyer agent. I mean, just like she's 24 hours into it. I have a listings coordinator. Right now we have 64 listings. I have a transaction coordinator. We have 24 pending. I have a lead coordinator just started.
Oh, interesting.
Just started. Okay. And that's it.
No admin.
No, I got a listing coordinator, a lead coordinator, and a transaction coordinator. They are admin.
Okay. All right.
That makes sense?
Yeah. So people do their own paperwork on the front end and then they hand it off.
No. So the way I have it set up is we make a lot of outbound calls, right? We're looking for right now sellers, right now buyers, future sellers, future buyers, pure and simple. So if it's a right now buyer or seller, well, if it's a right now seller, it goes to our listing coordinator, puts a packet together, sends it out for the appointment, right? Listing agent calls, has the appointment, lists the property, comes back to the listing coordinator, photography scheduled, MLS, all that stuff. Green sheets, blue sheets, whatever sheets go wherever they go, right? She handles the showings, all that stuff until an offer comes in, comes back to our listing agent negotiates the deal, goes to the transaction coordinator takes it to the end. Check comes in at the end, listing agent runs to the bank. Somebody calls and says thank you to the client, goes into Zillow, and we get a nice little review. Okay?
So how long have you had the 3 separate, the 3 functions separated in admin? Because I didn't realize you did that.
Right. So it started out as 1 person doing all of it. And then that was too much. I think at one point, Desiree was doing 75 listings and about 30 transactions on her own. And I think her head blew off. But she couldn't, it was too much, right? And so then we got a transaction coordinator take half of that job away. Life got good for everybody, and we kept going. So here's what happened, why there's any change. We're bouncing around between 100 and 140 transactions, right? It's rolling. And I talked to a gentleman, a big agent out of New Jersey, and I told him, I'd like to jump up to 200 transactions. And he said, okay, well, let's talk a little bit about what you got. How many listings you got? 78. I said, holy crap, right? How many buyer size? Well, we do about 12 a year.
Yeah, it's low.
Right? And he says, how many people in your database? I said, about 25,000. So holy crap. And I said, so if you start working your database and you get a buyer agent, you can probably get to 200 in a year or less, right? Which is about double our production. So then I got together with Jeff Adamson over here, and we found out who the best coach is out there to blow up a business on both sides. Hired him. I'm on board with him. We got to get a buyer side going. So we looked up to see who the best buyer's agent is in the country. We found her. She's out of Missouri. Called her, talked to her. She said, you know what? With all this stuff, you're going to double your business overnight. I like what you're saying. How do I hire a buyer agent? Once I look at it, she says, you don't need a buyer agent. All right. Cool. I like what you want that. Says you need a lead coordinator before you need your buyer's agent. You got so much stuff going on. So get that first. So I hired them both at the same time.
Okay, so but a lead coordinator is normally coordinating inbound, and your leads are are
Okay.
organic. I mean, you're creating your own, you're eating what you kill. You're not buying anything from Zillow.
No buying,
Yeah,
zero out cost.
right.
So the way it works, we have outbound calls. Right now sellers, right now buyers,
Right.
right? If it's a right now buyer, it goes to our buyer agent, she's out showing property. If it's a listing, if they're a seller, it goes to the listing, all that. If it's a future, right, not right now, goes to the lead coordinator.
Okay.
She wraps her arms around them, loves up on them, babysits them until they become a right now buyer or seller, at which time they'll go back to our people. We want our salespeople showing property, negotiating contracts, going on listing appointments, or negotiating contracts. Everything else should be background admin folks. That's the way we go.
So your marketing budget is literally zero.
No, that's not true. It's a little bit because we send out just listed, just sold postcards,
Okay,
right? So it's some, it's not a huge
right.
thing.
You're not farming specific areas, just.
Yeah, we are with outbound phone calls backed by direct mail. We don't, Facebook, we're going to start doing a little bit of that. Because I'm telling you guys, forever, 14 years, if a buyer lead came in, how much, how easy, how fast? $1 million, 1031 exchange, easy money, it's going to happen in the next 20 days?
Maybe.
All
you'll call-
right, here's
maybe.
maybe.
Maybe you'll call it back.
I'm coming to town in the fall, the spring, sometime. We'd like to look at product. I'll be right back. Please hold.
Yeah,
Can't help you. Right?
guilty.
It's
Yeah.
just the way it was.
I get it.
Right? But now we got somebody whose job it is to babysit that.
That's
So now
awesome.
we're going to start looking at some, about that much expense for lead generation.
I think one of the big fallacies, and I hope you agree, is when people start thinking about a team, and I was going to ask you this question, later. Well, you answered it, where your team came from. My team found me. There was no desire to build a team. It was just, I was approached by two different people that were so impressive that I decided to start a team. So it wasn't, there's no grandiose idea about what I want to do with it. But most people, and quite a few have approached me over the years, and I'm sure as they do you on a regular basis, they want to talk to me about what I'm going to give them. Okay. And that means leads, right? And so you're messaging to a new team member that you're going to call how many people a day? I mean, how many people are you calling a day to start
our
out?
target is 3 hours and 30 contacts.
Okay. Three connections.
3 hours, 30, hello, my name is.
Did the 30 include repeat visits? Like I'm reaching back to you?
Okay, so, we have a system where we call every 90 days, 4 times a year, right? You probably heard about this. We send them postcards once a month. We send them email twice a month, twice a month, email, postcard once a month, phone calls every 90 days. That's our.
It's hard work. I mean,
a lot of work.
it's a lot of work, and it's very
So
consistent.
what happens is, here's the way it works. It's kind of cool. So you call somebody, right? Or you knock on their door, you have open house, how are you? Right? And you have a conversation. If you can just imagine on the phone, right? And you hang up. Somebody says, honey, who was that? Some realtor just called me. All right. I hope you told him get lost. Oh yeah, I know, right? And then you call them again 90 days later. Honey, who was that? Some realtor, okay? You call them 90 days later. Honey, who was that? It's that realtor who keeps calling us. You keep going. Then eventually, honey, who was that? That's John Moran, our realtor down in Destin. That's sweet,
Right.
right? How long that takes depends how good you are, how efficient you are, and how often you do it. It's like any type. If you advertise one time, send one postcard out, good luck.
Yeah.
You send out a whole bunch, your luck gets better, right? So our job is to be there all the time. And when we're not talking to them on the phone, it's coming at them through their email or through the mail.
And you've been able to retain these people for a while. So what's the secret to retention? Because again, it's hard work. There's nothing easy about your system.
All right, so who we retain our people,
Yeah,
our team people.
yeah. They've been around for a while, right?
No. The ones that have, right? So here's the thing. All right, so what is the thing? Here's the thing about teams. And it's starting to come around because I'm in the process of pulling myself out of my team and kind of managing it as a part of being a player coach, so to speak. And so I've gone from having to do the work to making sure the work gets done. Two separate responsibilities, right? So I'm transitioning there since about January. It's changed. So it's different. I got the thing set up, and so some folks can come in and start doing the job. And we're working on our processes, our systems, and all that. So the people stay because it works for them. And not everybody should be on a team. Let's talk about this real quick for a second, because I get asked all the time, should I be on a team? Should I be on a team? Why should I be on a team? Okay, so I put a Facebook post out this morning. It's, where do you thrive? Here's really where it comes down to. Where are you going to thrive? Some people don't thrive well in an environment like that. They have to be their own leader. They like to be responsible for everything, right? They bristle at giving up some control. They thrive as a single agent, right, as their own. Some people enjoy the freedom that comes from doing only what you do good and like doing, right? I don't like doing admin. I thrive on everything but admin. So those folks should be on a team, right? And so now what it comes down to, maybe some of what you talked about, is who comes on the team and why they stay and why they leave. Right now, I'm in the process of looking for talent, always now. I'm a talent finder, looker person.
Scout, yes.
Scout, right? Are you good enough to be with our group, is what I'm asking and going out and looking. And if you are, we're going to wrap our arms around you. We're going to love you. We're going to do whatever we can to make sure you get whatever you want to get. But if you're not, hopefully we're not going to hire you. And if we do, we're going to have to let go our different ways sooner than later.
So, but your retention, how many people do you think, do you retain 50%? It's more than that, right?
Oh, no, not even close.
Oh,
Not
it's
even
less.
Not even close. If I had a roster of past, and by no means are they bad people or anything, they just weren't right for us.
Right.
Here's the reason why. I'll tell you why. We were realtors, right? Where, hey, let's grow a team, let's grow a team. Hey, you're breathing, come on, let's go. I've got a big ego. I bet I can make you do really well. Let's go, right? And after a while, it's like, no, this isn't working out.
Right.
It's like if you married all your girlfriends, probably not a good plan. I don't know, maybe some of y'all is, but, it's like that. You know what I mean? So if you're going to have a team or go on a team, make sure the philosophies match, the values match, all that stuff. Before you can fog a mirror, let's go. Now, you got to take a test, you got to do another this, you got to jump through some flaming hoops and all this stuff, because it's hard to let somebody go. Even if it's supposed to happen, right? It's still hard breaking up with somebody. And it's not fun, and it's a mental drain. It sucks for everybody.
So even, let's talk about the third category. What if you think you want to run a team just because that's what everybody's doing?
Okay, perfect.
So what do you think that takes? What differentiates you?
All right, good question. I get asked that a lot too. And what happens with running a team, it probably comes down to your why. First of all, I would not tell anybody to run a team unless they really like helping other people get what they want to get. And if they get enough of what they want, you'll get enough of what you want. You know, we all know that Zig Ziglar thing, right? What it was, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get more than you want in your own, whatever I would say, right? That's what you got. If you're going to run a team, you better be willing to sacrifice your own time, your own production, your own everything, or else you're wasting your time, their time, and everybody else's.
And so some of it's example setting, and whether that's work ethic, you know, whether you're doing your own thing now and running a team, but Some of it, I think, is generosity.
Probably.
You know, I mean, if you can't be really covert and run a team, you've got to be willing to share ideas and information and not be threatened by that,
Gotta
right?
be willing to give up something,
Right,
a lot
exactly.
of stuff.
So,
Wait, we got a question here in the middle?
well, I'm going to
Okay.
ask you guys to save them if that's okay. I'll give you time for that at the end since
Okay.
we're running. Okay. Is that okay? I don't know who had it, but we'll go for it then. So you were talking about systems. That's a real struggle for us. And, you know, the instruction I give people is write down everything you do and you have a system, right? So you've got 3 different admin doing 3 different things. Do you already have systems that exist that you gave them, or are they coming up with their own systems?
No. I was very fortunate. When I got into real estate, I hired coach day one, right?
Okay.
I got hooked up with some very good coaches. I've had some of the best coaches in the country, quite honestly, throughout my time. Through luck, through some other things, I've had very, very good coaches. So but if I was focused on listing, I mean, I can do a listing in my sleep to nothing, right? And a lot of people can do listings in their sleep, right? So that's all we did for 14 years. And it's because I had the best coaches in the world teaching us how to do it, from how to knock on doors to how to say thank you. We'll be back in Wednesday.
5 years.
Right, whatever, right? Right on through. No detail left unturned. And which is great. Then I said, all right, I want to get in the buyer side of it. I don't know much about buyers. I'm going to hire or go find the best buyer people in the country. They're going to tell us what to do. And then we do it, right? We're going to do what they say. And so, yes, we have, you know, if 100 is a scale, we probably have 90% of the program worked out with the fewer details left.
So let me give you an example. Do you have your onboarding and offboarding systems recorded, or is that still all in your head?
Not in my head, mostly on paper, not recorded.
Okay.
Yes, in my head, I guess it's like, yes. Yes,
Okay.
in my head, not recorded, but on paper.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Sort
Whatever.
Is it on like a legal pad or something?
No, it's in the computer, right? We can print it out.
Okay.
Here's what we do. Yeah.
Okay.
I was very fortunate to have a very good admin a while ago that was anal about what to do,
Okay.
how to do it, right? How to start your email, just everything, right? And then Keller Williams has stuff on their side
Yeah.
that we can accomplish.
Is there a rodent in the room? Did you hear that? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. It's a
It's on your shoulder, weird.
Right. So, and I don't know how much you guys know about team formats, but this is really, really unique, the way that John does this, and your lead gen.
It is unique.
And most people are they're buying leads. I don't buy any leads either, so we share that commonality. We're all organically, ours are all organically or
So here's what I've
self-generated.
come to find out over the years. Teams generally consist of a rainmaker who's getting the listings and about 1,000 buyer agents or whatever, and some guy writing a lot of checks for leads.
Right.
Never really followed up on that or looked into that after that. I didn't like the paying out for leads. And quite honestly, being a buyer agent is a hard game to play, in my view. Listings are good. If you have a listings, the whole MLS is your buyer agents.
Right. The listings, your store.
Yeah.
So how much of the MREA do you follow? Do you follow the budget model, for instance, with the, what is it, 30%
Okay,
cost of
so
sale?
I do a lot of what is in the Millionaire Real Estate book by accident. Okay, It wasn't a pre-designed thing. It's more and more now because I have a different coaching setup, and I almost, I'll have the book memorized soon. But the budget model I follow is from Profit First. If you've read the book, cool. If you haven't, you probably should. And it's about getting paid first and taking your profit first and working your expenses with what's left, right?
Okay.
And your cost. So from a percent standpoint, cost me about, depending on how aggressive I am with some stuff, roughly 30% of our income goes to expenses, operating expenses. And then the salaries of my people are my biggest expense.
Mhm. Which I think is MREA suggests 30% for, well, that's for outbound commissions, I believe. I don't know if you're not including that in your expenses, right?
No.
And you're not including salaries in that?
So I have my income, or the company income is generated from our part of the sale,
Mhm.
right, of the commission income. Agents take what they get, we get what we get, plus my commission. So that creates our operating income. Out of our operating income, we pay salaries, rent.
By the way, is Jeff still in here? There he is. I just found, and I'll share this with whoever wants it. I just identified 3 accounting practices that do P&Ls according to the MREA model.
Chart of accounts, okay.
Yeah, which was very interesting. I'm sure you're on your numbers, tracking them all the time because you're a numbers guy, right?
Mhm.
So you see your P&L, what, monthly, weekly?
So every week I have a coaching call, and every week I got to fill out how many listings we took, how many appointments we went on, income generated, profit created, costs, a lot, right?
Yeah.
Which at first it's a lot, and now it's just kind of maintenance, whatever.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm pretty dialed in.
So your business model, very much like mine, it's very concentrated. You're geographically concentrated in Destin, not as much 30A, or historically have been. You're mostly condos, you're mostly sellers, right? So a very narrow focus. How did you decide on that? How did you pick a
Okay.
model?
So the way it worked, I'm a sales guy, right? I sold night crawlers to fishermen when I was this tall. You know, I want to go to Y camp. I got to sell chocolates to go to the Y camp for a week. Just what you do, right? So way back when, my wife's a buyer's agent, selling real estate, making a lot of money doing it, and I'm traveling all over the country doing what I'm doing, selling stuff. I thought, well, heck, I'm going to do that. I'm going to hire a coach. I'm going to go do what she does. And so cold calling, prospecting, whatever, it's not an issue for me. I said, you know what, all those condos, I'm going to call every down one of the owners and see if they want to sell. You know, that's what I did. And I started with condos because condos are a commodity for me. They're higher, lower, east or west, right? And they're the same floor plan, generally speaking, whatever. Houses, you got roof, you got all kinds of stuff, right? So we started there. And it was going great. John Skinner came on board. He wanted to be a buyer's agent. Remember that? Said, you don't want to be a buyer's agent. You want to be a listing agent. Okay, I'll be a listing agent. Great. Go to Panama City, right? Crushes it in Panama City. Courtney comes on board and says, I want to be a buyer's agent. At that time, I was pulling probably 30 leads in off of Google. 30 leads a month is the number you need for a buyer's agent in my world.
And how are you getting Google leads? You were buying them? You don't.
Yeah. We have enough listings that organically created on Google. And back in the day, we were early in the internet. I mean, I had 5 million websites going for crying out loud, and we were getting a lot of internet leads, right? And it was great. Courtney made a lot of money living at home with her dad, selling $1 million homes, right? Driving around with a little BMW with her hair in the wind. It was great. It was great. And so she worked as a buyer's agent. Then the market started to constrict a little bit, right? And it started to get harder. And buyers were fewer and fewer. And so we talked it out and said, you need to be a listing agent if you're going to make a living in real estate. So she transitioned from buyer's agent to listing agent and subsequently does quite well. And then Gil Arison came on board. And he's just a grinder listing agent. And now our newest one is Rachel, who is wanting to be a listing agent, but she keeps finding herself on the buyer side of things. But I asked her to be our buyer agent because she's quite good. She said, nope, I want to be a listing agent. All right, well, we're about to hire a buyer agent, which means you ain't no buyer agent no more. You're going to be a listing agent, and so we're going to live and die on that. She's ready. She's ready. So we went from listing and selling all these condos in Destin, Panama City, Navarre, Oakland Island. Right? We cover that. And we started to expand into houses. So now we're listing and selling houses in Indian Bayou, Kelly Plantation, Wagata, 4 Mile Village, Destiny East, West. Haven't done anything in by the sea yet. It's coming. We're starting to chip on watercolor, Seaside, Water Sound. We'll get into there for those folks who run for their money.
So you're mailing and calling in those neighborhoods?
Mailing, calling, email, whatever it takes.
Okay.
Yep.
So you've answered my question. What do you do to find sellers? It's all smile and dial, right? A little bit of mail,
Yeah.
supporting
more or
mail.
less.
And the purpose of the mail is there some accountability for them to follow up on the mail, but also hopefully there's some familiarity when they call, right?
Yeah. What you're looking for is some mind space, right?
Right.
People are going to forget you the second you hang out, the way it is, right? The same way they're going to throw the postcard from the mailbox to the to the house. But what you also find is a lot of people, most people even maybe, save that stuff. Let's save it. They take it because someday they're going to say they're putting a little file, right? And then 3 years later, they pull it open. Here's a file, right? And they'll be like, all right, here's one from Cindy Cole. Here's 15 from At the Beach Team. Here's one from so-and-so. And whatever, right?
Cindy's is big.
Right, and Cindy's is really big. And they're like, holy cow, that is really big. And then they look at our 17 of them. But, but yeah, so that's what we count on, right? And then we're on the phone and all that. Now, here's the thing. You're not going to get everybody. There ain't no way you're going to get everybody. You won't even get the ones that tell you they're going to work with you, right? But if you do it enough, you'll get enough.
Right.
Where you're going to live a big life, a really, really big.
And we both started our business the same way. I mean, mine completely outbound calls. So, people that fear that coming into it are probably not going to have a really big career. It's not possible.
Well, I don't know if that's true, because there's a lot of ways to do it. I know there's some gals I think in Texas are doing open houses and just
open houses are awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
There are people. I mean, John Paul Summers making a fortune on signs, right? Putting up signs. You get a listing, he's going to put 12, 14 signs in the place. Right? But he's doing it that way, right? There's a million ways to do it. Ours works for me, right?
But it also works for anybody
It'll work for anybody
that's willing to do it,
yeah.
because everybody doesn't have real estate on 98 to put up signs,
Yeah.
So if you're willing to do that, it's free. If you can afford a cell phone, you can do it. You can make a living. The one thing I will add to that is I know yours is in consistency. It's just continue to call, build a relationship. Mine is in making an informed call. Like, don't pick up and be an idiot. Know who you're calling, know their history, know the neighborhood, know the values. And that's sort of a transition into luxury as well. As you don't want to be some random person. They always seem to be from Keller Williams, right?
So yeah, right.
Right.
So bold is having an impact. There's an influence.
Yeah.
Right, which is great. Sort of. But here's the thing. Y'all know Lululemon. Right? We're all familiar with that. Chip Wilson. He started that business, and he went out and he got what he calls super girls to work at, right? Informed. He doesn't want to be called salespeople. He calls them educators. I don't know what she says. You get out of that business or mindset that you're just talking to people. Be an educator. Come with some sort of value, something to the person at the other end. If your value, and I think Gary says this even, your value proposition is buying leads, Zillow or wherever, good luck. That's a simple, easily repeatable, duplicated concept, right? But what's hard is to understand what's going on, or at least to the best of your ability. But people will respect it, especially if you're right once in a while, right? But understand the market, know what's going on, have an opinion, an idea, whatever. And I think you'll do really well as opposed to, right?
And practice makes perfect, right? The more you do it, the more.
Right.
I know I don't honestly make a lot of cold calls right now anymore. I mean, I make warm ones, and I work off that database all the time. But when I don't do it, I I mean, I'm not as sure of myself. I'm a little nervous, I'm not as confident going into it. Josh is making a lot of calls for us right now, and he says, if I just take a day and don't do it, the next day it's so hard to start versus just
Momentum's everything,
getting up every day.
up or down, right?
So I'm going to switch topics. Here's we're winding down, and then I'll open it up for some questions. Let's talk about the market. Okay, so and I think I even saw you comment on this on Facebook, but daily pendings are exceeding new listings. I mean, some days it's double. And I've certainly never seen that. We're still seeing some price reductions in the market, but what do you see coming? What's your crystal ball say?
It is so foggy and rainy and dark. It's just unbelievable. It is. And I watch this stuff. It's a mess. So here's what I look at. 40 million people unemployed. The beach is shut down for 5 weeks. It's back, but at 50% in most cases. A lot of folks are just now getting their last of their $600 a week or whatever it is, check from the government or whatever, all this stuff. All that stuff just screams inventory up, prices down. It just has to. Except inventory is dropping through the floor, tightening up, and prices are going up. I'm just thinking, oh my word, what on earth is going on? I think what's happening is, like Memorial Day, right? Memorial Day. This place was wall-to-wall people. I was thinking, oh my word, how can you be off of work at home and doing all this stuff, and then maybe go back to your job if it's there and say, Mr. Boss Guy or gal or whatever, I got a week down in Florida. I'll be back. How does that work? But apparently it works quite well for a lot of folks. Right? Now showed up here. Which saved the rental market to a certain degree. But even Airbnb is struggling, and a lot of these folks are struggling, and they're giving discounts. The better properties, nicer, closer to the beach, updated, all that stuff, will rent faster for more, will sell faster for more than your dogs that got by before, even in this market now where things are tight. So, having said that, you got all these people coming. And here's my guess. A lot of folks stop making their mortgage payments. You can put on the back end of their whatever, maybe, right? Hopefully. I think they stop making their credit card payments, their car payments, their whatever payments. And they're like, and they're getting government money and they're feeling good. Mabel, grab the kids, we're going to the beach, right? But what's going to happen is come July, August or something, they're going to come home and the mailman's still going to show up every day. You're going to get that thing in. The mortgage that we haven't paid for the last 5 months, our new bill now is $75,000. And your job that used to be there isn't, or maybe you went back and it's at a lower price or lower salary or something. I don't know, right? I saw an article in the newspaper, 15.7% of small businesses are not going to reopen. It doesn't scream price up, inventory down. So what's happening right here, right now, right here, right now is if you're a seller, sell.
Right.
Sell. Because we know what we can see. If you're a buyer and you find a property at a price that makes sense for you at a low rate, buy. If you're going to own it for a long time, who cares? This is a blink of an eye in time, right? Come and go and you'll be happy. If you're trying to flip, good luck. That's a harder game to play. And if you're in it for the long haul, you don't need to sell, don't sell. This is a bad time. Well, not so bad because right here, right now, you can get some good numbers. But if you're thinking you're going to wait till the fall, or if you're going to wait till next year, I would say sell now.
Right.
Take what you know for darn sure. And if it goes up a little bit, well, that's good. But if it goes down a lot, well, then that's really good that you got out.
Right.
So that's what we're telling our people.
So what would you tell these guys as agents to how do they prepare for that?
Okay.
For a correction.
So I went back and looked when COVID first started. And I got on Facebook. I said, now is the time. Work. Go to work. Get your listings. We're going for 100 listings. Go. We didn't get to 100, but we put like 35 of them under contract, and we would have started to get close, right? And an agent called, or a broker said, I can't believe you got all those listings. We're down to 1. Inventory's tight. I'm sitting at 64, 65 right now, right? And our phones are ringing.
From buyers.
From buyers, showings, all that stuff. So we're feeling good about what we got going. Now, I'm sitting out here where you guys are, or at home, or whatever. Get whatever listing you can. Whatever you can. Take whatever listing you can right now. Well, I want to overprice it. I don't know. What's overpriced these days? I mean, you see it, these $1 million houses are selling for a lot, right? Condos that shouldn't be selling are selling right now. We're getting multiple offers on properties. It's the military, right? Yeah, that's got all jammed up. Except if you get a listing over there, dude, you got multiple offers, right? So what I would do, what I would do is I'd probably hire a coach, and I'd sit down and I'd start figuring out where I was going to work, what my plan is. And I'd go after as hard as I can. I'd figure out Bold. I guess I'd go to Bold. That's it, because it's already set up for you. I'd go to Bold. I've never been to Bold. I hear it's great. But in all fairness, we've been doing Bold for 14 years.
Right, you are bold.
Yeah.
So the other advice I'd give these guys is to save some money.
Save some money.
Yeah, save some money.
Save some money.
Ready to buy in a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
there's
man,
that.
there you go, right? That's what I'm telling our folks. Get your money, because it's going to go down. How far, how long, who knows? But it's going to go down, and that's when you buy.
Have you ever been in a market where there was extreme scarcity? I haven't, but I haven't done it as long as you have.
Yeah, shit. Heck, I mean, when I first started, if you got a listing, I mean, this is fax machine days, right? When I first started, when somebody wanted to list, I literally had to put the packet together. I'd drive to the Destin airport and hand the UPS guy the overnight packet on the tarmac. It's a different thing. And then we'd put it in the MLS. It'd be like you'd put it in the MLS and you hit go, and then you hear the fax machine would start going, right? And they'd come in, and you'd look, and then you'd take it and you'd get it out, and then all of a sudden you look at the next one, and this, right? And you call the seller and say, hey, we got an offer. Remember this? We got an offer. How much is it? $610,000. God, I just bought the thing for $400. I know, right? And then hold on. Oh, we got another one. This one says $601,000 more than whatever you got, right? That was tight. That was tight back then. And if you got a listing, you're making money. If you're a buyer's agent, you're like, oh God. Right? Kind of like what it is right now.
That would have been what year?
Yeah, 4 and 5.
Okay, and then the correction happened just like almost overnight, right? It just stopped.
2008.
I started at 9, so I started at the bottom.
When I came through.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Up market, down market,
Figure it out.
whatever market.
Yeah.
You'll do fine if you're not working. We have never, we've always been on an up trajectory. Now, the last 3 or 4 years, we're kind of bouncing around the same thing. And quite honestly, I got bored.
Yeah.
I got bored.
Right.
But you know what happened? I got fired by Mike Ferry. He said, sorry, dude, you're not getting it done. I'm thinking, geez, we're doing $40 million, 100 and some odd transactions, making $1 million GCI. And I said, yeah, that's cool, but you lost, right? And it kind of woke me up a little bit. And so I changed my plan. Now, look out. We're on a rocket ship. We're taking off, right? And I can't wait to call Mike Ferry up. I can't wait to call him and say, dude, we just did 100 million in sales. We're $3, $4 million GCI. Well, we did that. So yeah, we got stuff in play now where, who knows, 100 million is probably just a bump. There's a lot of business out there, right?
Yeah, there is.
A lot of business.
So thank you, John. That was awesome. Thank you for being so generous. And I'm sure there's some questions out there. Who had one over here already? Was it
So
you?
I was
Yeah.
gonna ask him, like, you have the team, agent coming on to a team. How does that commission break down for that listing agent or that buyer's agent?
50-50.
So if
Boom.
that's the lead that comes from that you have generated that goes to the listing agent and that agent gets 50, but what if they're bringing in
50-50.
something that they brought
They're
in
always
from-
bringing in something.
It's always 50.
Yeah.
Okay, from either side. Got it.
But all their leads are self-generated. He's not handing
So-
anybody anything.
So, yeah, and then you got your capping situation. So what we have set up now, and we're just in the very beginning, but I have all the confidence in the world it's going to work, right? So we make outbound calls, right? And somebody's either right now listing, right now buyer, future listing, future buyer, or they're nothing. Throw them back, right? Too small. I'll never sell. My wife's a realtor, whatever. I hate anybody named John. Whatever. There's always something, right? But if they're right now, boom, we're going. And if they're future, right, they go to our lead person. And our lead person's job is to make them right now. So what's starting to happen, now we're just starting, is we'll come into the office and there'll be 6, 8, 10, 12 calls. Call so-and-so, they're ready. Call so-and-so, they're ready. Jim wants to list, blah, blah, blah. And what that's going to do is going to turn our 30 contacts into 50 contacts. It's going to turn our 60 listings into 100 listings. That's going to turn our 100 transactions on the buy side into 200. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you give up a lot, but you get a lot. We're going into business together. There's not many businesses. Anybody here have a business outside of real estate? Where you get 50-50 on anything? You're getting 50% return? Do you get anywhere near that in the restaurant business? Not even close. If you own a Subway or something and you get like 8%,
Right.
you're doing cartwheels down 98.
Groceries are like, what, 2%?
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
So we're in business doing 50-50.
John, person does the calling, they get a lead, they pass it off to the person that keeps up with those leads, cultivating them, ask them if they're ready to do something. How's this person get benefit?
Does it come back to them
or is it
specifically,
split
or-
up somewhat?
At closing, they get part, the lead coordinator. So the lead coordinator's income is directly related to how many transactions we have, right? Her motivation is more. Like a Billy Idol song, right?
Yeah, but once it's gone to the lead coordinator, that agent, that listing agent that contacted them to generate the lead, does it go back to that listing agent once they're ready?
The one that originated. But I don't want you guys to get too hung up into John's model. I want you to realize it is so unique that I've never heard of it being replicated. And you may have in your coaching world, right? But
I don't
Man,
know.
his brain.
yeah, I mean, it just really is that unique.
Yeah.
Josh, you had a question?
I do. All right, so you going back a little bit, you were talking about the girl that was driving the BMW with the hair in the wind, right? Life was easy for her. Would you say that her being a buyer's agent up front helped her be a better listing coordinator? or
Probably.
listing agent?
Well,
Or
here's what I'd say,
realistic?
everything is something, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? So, think about this. Here's the way it worked with Courtney, and hey, Courtney, if you're out there. Courtney shows up with her mom, because Jeff and I were interviewing her mom for the job to work on our team. And Courtney came along. And she's like, her mom didn't work out. But Courtney's like, you know what, I have some interest in doing that. And she's been with us for, 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Right? She just bought a house on a dune lake on 38.
And you also give your team members an opportunity to have a different life. I mean,
They live really good lives.
yeah. When Beth approached me, the first thing she said is, I play tennis every morning. And I was like, okay. I mean, and she's just been an amazing asset to our entire group. I mean, and she
She's
works her ass off in the afternoon, but made no bones about it. I play tennis every morning, and she just has been such a great fit. So, it also gives people that opportunity. Yeah.
So here's the deal from my perspective. We're in this together, right? You're going to come work on our team. I ask, how much you want to make? Everybody said $100,000. Awesome, whatever, right? It's like there's a pamphlet out there somewhere that says, if anybody ever asks how much you want to make, tell them $100,000. But whatever, right? So I'm like, cool, $100,000, that's awesome. More. You got to have more if you're going to play with us, right? Not that 100. If you're making $100,000 or less, God bless you, I love it, whatever. But if you're going to play on our team, you got to make more than that. You got to want more than that. You got to need whatever. It's got to bug you if you're not getting more than that, because there's more than that out there.
As a newly licensed agent, would you recommend starting out on a team or getting some experience under your belt and then transitioning to a team?
Great question. Here's what I would tell you. what floats your boat, right? We're back to that, right?
I think I would thrive as more independent, but.
See,
what
then
you're
you probably
saying-
should not go on a team if you're gonna be independent, right? Because it'll grate on you and then the team. Now, here's the thing, you gotta watch out, because not all teams are the same, right? Which is great, which makes them, I'm not saying any are better or worse than the others, but what we have with our people now is we take a values assessment, right? It's not to determine if you have or don't have values, and we all got, or whatever. It's whether they match what you're looking for, right? Because if you're not in sync on values, not necessarily personality or whatever, I mean, we all got our personality things. God knows I do. But our values have to be in sync, right? If you are running out at 5 o'clock and I'm still working, I'm looking at the clock, right? We got to work until it gets done, or that's gonna be a problem. Or if you're working till 5 o'clock and I'm out of here at 3 o'clock, hey, you keep it up, I'll get back to you tomorrow. After a while, you're gonna be bothered by that. So if your team, if you join a team and they have a different mentality than you do, maybe you want to do luxury, but they want to do VA, right? Or luxury VA, maybe, I don't know much about VA. But they want to do something else, right? Or whatever. If you're going to be on a team, I would look hard at what are you guys about, right? What are your values, right? Like us, I can tell you, our philosophy is we're going to max out our clients' positions as buyers or sellers based on their financial goals in the current market conditions. That's what we do. I don't care about what our commissions are. I'm not going to talk you into buying or selling. My job is to educate you as an owner what the market is doing right now and how does that compare to your financial goal for the property, right? And if it matches up, let's go as hard as we can to get that thing sold for as much as we can, as fast as we can. But you might say, you know what, I want $1 million for my property. Cool. We're at 200 grand. Let's hold, right? And if you can afford to wait, good, right? But if you say, hey, I want $1 million for my property because my kid's going to college and I want to use the money for paying for that. Okay. Wow, it's not quite at $1 million. You may want to sell now because the market's getting, we're expecting a turn. So I would take that money out right now and sell and use it to pay rather than wait and see it paid at the end. Does that make sense? It kind of comes back to understanding the market, what's going on, so you can talk intelligently to people about what they have. Their houses are huge assets, single family, investment or otherwise.
And I would also, the advice I would give you is a team is not a training ground. And I think a lot of people will approach me like, should I spend a year with you? No, you really shouldn't. I mean, yeah, you shouldn't. No.
You end up, you feel like.
Oh, hey.
You feel like you're being sucked dry, and then you,
Yeah.
like, from a being a rainmaker, it's kind of messed up, I feel like.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, because it's a lot for us to invest in you, and then you just take everything we taught you and then go and do what you want to share, but at the same token, I don't want anybody on my team who just wants to use me.
Right.
And then go on to their own thing. Because it's a marriage, it's like, wait a minute. And then, you're going, and then we spend all this energy in you, and then we're back again, like, square one, and then having to do it again.
Right.
So it's just.
I think, in the beginning talk of teams, when I started, a lot of people were real paranoid about people taking information and leaving. I don't think that's a common concern anymore because you're not replicable. I mean, you have your own personality, you have your own work ethic, you have your own brand, your own image in the marketplace, your own spheres of influence. So remember that though, everybody in the beginning, like, I'm not going to do all that and have somebody steal all my stuff. I mean, they're it's not going to happen. So,
all the stuff is there for everybody anyway. So it's more about kind of giving you a roadmap to success in a sense. Like we kind of take like, okay, we've been there, done that, from experience, or bad, bad or good or whatever. But I think it's more about becoming one together and growing together.
Right. Robert?
John, you mentioned something about 30 leads a month from Google, whatever, were those qualified?
That was a long time ago.
I was just curious.
So what would happen is, how that did happen? This is in the early days when Ed Smith dominated Google. And Carrie Rose. Yeah, we would get a bunch of leads that came in and they would be keep in mind, there was only a handful of people that were fighting for those leads. Courtney, which is so amazing, and I gotta give her a lot of credit. She was living with her dad, never had owned a place, never had sold real estate. She sold $1 million homes. Like this, right? And it wasn't because she was lucky. Probably because she was exceptional and got put in a position to be exceptional, right? And so she responded to the challenge for that, but it was really cool. But then they got really tight, and then Google AdWords and all that stuff. Back when you could dominate by writing Destin 45 times in a blog, right? Destin Real Estate in Destin, Florida has all the real estate that you'd ever want in Destin, right? And all of a sudden you'd go up on the keywords. So, but that changed, and now Zillow seems to dominate. But here's something else is cool. A little side thing I saw yesterday that I thought was really super cool. So I was going back through some of the Facebook posts I'd had. Open Door. You all familiar with Open Door? Open Door. Technology. Are we all familiar with technology? What's Open Door? They'll buy your house in 15 minutes or else your money back or something. Because I kept hearing about technology. Don't let the technology. And I know Gary's what technology, whatever, and whatever enhance or whatever. I'm not sure what his position is. I would tell you this: hard work and good foundational stuff is way, way, way great, and technology can really be a tool. But so these Open Door guys were going to blow out the world, right? And I remember seeing somebody they posted. They had a spokesperson post that we've been now going for 5 years and we got this pricing thing figured out. Is what she was her quote. I'm thinking, oh my word, 5 whole years and you got this pricing thing figured out. Awesome. You have never been in anything other than an appreciating market and you got this pricing thing down. Nice. And then a month ago, they just, headlines everywhere. Open Door laying massive layoffs, 35% this and blah, blah, blah. And they're probably gone. They're about to be.
And John, I'll end with this because I did fail to ask you a tech question because you and I are the same school. I mean, it's like you pick up the phone and dial, but you do provide a CRM, which you've had for a while, which is not necessarily what you would start with today at Keller Williams that you're entrenched in. What else do you provide in terms of tech? Do you blog? Does somebody blog or?
No.
Okay. So it's yeah.
Kind of, sort of. I don't know. So I would caution, urge, encourage, whatever. Don't overthink it.
Yep.
At least from my standpoint.
It seems like an easy thing to pay for something, right? And that's what these technology companies are counting on is if you just buy this for $100 a month and this for $250 and it'll just, the phone just starts to ring and it just.
But they're selling that same service to everybody. So there's no unique selling proposition. There's no value.
Yeah. And, you've got to have seen, some of you have seen me interview Dean, who's, I think, the biggest buyer of Zillow leads in the market, who's a Keller Williams agent. But, that's what he does. That's what he does. That's what he spends all his money on. So, all right.
Let me get one last story. Yeah. I was on a listing appointment, of which I got a couple of weeks ago. And I sit down there, and the gal goes, do you know this guy? There's a picture of another agent on a calendar. I think so. That might have been him in high school, but yeah, I know who that is. It's like, I really like getting their calendars. I'm like, awesome. I'll make sure they keep sending them. Be careful. Be careful what you spend your money on.
That's right. All right, let's give John a hand. Thank you very much.
All right, if you're interested in a coach, I would say there's food is in the kitchen. If you're interested in a coach or thinking about a team, please see me before you do anything.
All right, guys. Thank you all for being on. Appreciate you.